If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. If it's Monday or Wednesday night, then it must be California Haunts Radio Night. Please take this time to gather some popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, maybe even dinner or whatever snacks you eat, and have a sit down in front of the TV, the computer, or even your cell phone and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the show tonight. We got a great guest coming on. My name is Charlotte. I'll be your host for the next hour. I am the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We're 35 strong. We have branches up and down the state of California, some people in Oregon, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Hawaii. Anyway, I want to welcome you all. If you want to visit our radio site, which has every episode that we've done since we started doing these video shows at www.californiahauntsradio.com. Or if you want to visit our paranormal site is www.californiahaunts.org. Anyway, tonight we have a little different show. I know we did one on law and social justice last night. Tonight's kind of connected in a way because it has to do with legal stuff, pretty much. You know, what happens, we see a lot of this in the news with the FBI and, the politicians. What happens when somebody bugs your house? Or you find out that your house has been bugged? Or maybe you even suspect that your house has been bugged. Our guest tonight, Roger Tolces, who runs Bug Sweeps, is an expert in bugging. And so he's going to tell us how he's able to go into people's homes and find out whether or not they've been bugged. So let me get him on the phone. This is going to be a phone interview. So let me dial him in and see if we can get this show on the road.
Roger.
Hi, this is Charlotte.
Who is it?
Charlotte with California Haunts Radio.
Oh, yes, right, okay. Yeah.
How are you tonight?
Okay.
Terrific.
So how much time do we have? What time is it now?
It is 6:30.
Oh, yeah, it's about right time. So you're going to start soon?
Yes, sir, right now. We're live right now.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty fast.
All right, well, do me a favor, because I had the line call forwarded. Can you call one more time? Because I want to get on this landline.
Okay, sounds good. I will dial right now. No problem. Give me a second. All right, we're going to try this again. It's live radio. This is the stuff that happens, Okay.
This is Roger Sunpath. We can't take your call at the moment.
Give it a minute. Hang on there, everybody. I'm going to adjust my mic a little bit here, too, because I think it should be a little higher for me. There we go. Yeah, let me try this again. You got to love live radio, right?
Okay, that's better.
Terrific. So, I was telling everybody about a little bit about Bug Sweeps and what you do, but maybe you should tell everybody about your experience and how you got into this and what you do.
Okay, well, I started sweeping for electronic bugs around 1972 because I had an attorney that was defending some criminal cases, and he thought that the government was going to be wiretapping his phones, and they actually were, which is completely illegal because, when you're defending somebody, you're supposed to have the privacy necessary to do a good job and not have your opposing parties know what you're going to do. So anyway, he got me started on it, and then I've done probably about 5,000 cases of that, but things have moved over almost exclusively to electronic harassment since the digital mobile phones came in, because they're more complex to listen to, but the government has an easy ability to do it, but they're harder for amateurs to tap.
That's really interesting. And how long have you been doing this?
Since 1972.
Wow.
Long
And
time.
do you use specialized equipment to do this?
Yes, we've got the same equipment that the government uses to sweep the embassies. You got devices called
That is really interesting to me. You know, how can people? I mean, when people like when you get calls to go out and check people's houses, do they just call you like randomly to say, "Hey, I think somebody's bugging my house"?
Well, a lot of people are involved in litigation and other things where they need to have their privacy. I mean, if you have a $3 million litigation case against somebody, you want to make sure that your premises are clear.
Very interesting. And when you go out initially, or when you talk to them initially, what do you say or how do you handle it?
Well, we interview them to make sure that we understand the nature of the case. And then we, depending on whether it's home or business, different equipment for different levels of complexity. So depending on how their communications are set up, that's how we then go about getting a game plan on which equipment to use to analyze whatever their particular network looks like.
This is fascinating. And I was on your website checking it out, and I see that you got like several pieces of equipment that you guys utilize.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, there's about $250,000 worth of equipment. Some of the equipment deals with radio frequency, so if there's any kind of transmitting devices, we can actually see the transmissions and run the transmissions back to the source and find if there's a bug, a transmitting bug in the room, like in meeting rooms for businesses. And then, of course, there's other kinds of tabs that deal with.
Sorry, guys.
System is because right now most conference calls are networks, so the networks need to be secure.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So of course you must charge for this, correct?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What kind of? I know it's kind of out there because it probably varies per job, but what type of charging do you do as far as that goes, or how's it billed?
Well, it runs about $200 an hour.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like you were in your kitchen. You making dinner?
No, actually, the mic fell.
The what?
The microphone fell.
I thought you were making dinner on the air because you're hungry.
Yeah. The microphone just fell. So things happen on the air, live radio. I'm really interested in this, and how and you got into doing this. How were you in the military or anything like that?
No, I was educated in electronics.
Okay.
And I was in Hollywood at the time. I was building audio systems, and that's when this particular attorney approached me on securing his offices, and he bought the original equipment.
That's really interesting to me.
You said that about 4 times in a row.
I know.
I must be very interesting.
It is very interesting because it fascinates me in that. I'm an electronics buff, so I mean, anything like this is interesting to me. And how does this work? I mean, do you go wire by wire, or is it just an overall scanner to see if there's a pulse coming out of something?
Well, like I said, you have 2 separate things to test. You have to test the radio frequency spectrum to see what kind of transmissions are going on, which is radio waves. And then the other thing is to secure the network itself, which is really wire. Although if it's Wi-Fi, there's a section of it's going to be Wi-Fi, but the main part of it could be fiber optic, as an example. So the whole thing is to make sure that nobody is tapped into those lines where they're accessible. You have to visit those access points and make sure they're clear.
Now, in the movies, I know the movies are flaky. I understand that, but sometimes people will hear clicks and stuff on their lines when they're on the phone and whatnot. Does that happen in real life?
Not if it's done properly. If the person's experienced that's doing the bugging, there won't be any clicks at all. You'll never hear a click on a government tab.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you look it up, there's a gigantic NSA facility in Bluffdale, Utah, 1 million square feet of supercomputers. So when the government wants to know what you're doing, they just go to a keyboard and they direct your phone conversations and your text messages to these supercomputers, and they just collect everything right there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you also,
Big brother.
Yes, yeah, but gosh, yeah, you never know who's watching. I had talked with an attorney yesterday because we were doing a a show on social justice, and this attorney was telling me how wiretapping, they can go in and do it and not tell you anything for like 30 days too. Is that true? I mean, you just find out like later on.
Yeah, they can keep the taps quiet for an extended amount of time if they go back to the court and renew the warrant. So it can be ongoing for years.
And you wouldn't know it. Oh my.
No, of course not.
See, guys, you got to watch what you say on the phone.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, I know I heard you speak on another show about high EMF and stuff like that, and how it can, some of this stuff, the wiring could affect your brain functions.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is particularly bad because it's a hopping frequency, about 2.4 gigahertz, and it's definitely brain interfering. So not only can you get interference in your brain from holding a cell phone up to your head, but if you're in a room that has a router, or you're let's say you live in an apartment building. So if I test an apartment building, I could see 40 routers. There could be a router right on the other side of your bedroom in your neighbor's house, and you wouldn't even know it. So when you have that many routers going simultaneously, you now have electrical pollution to levels that can be not only interfering with your brain, but also your bodily functions.
And what type of bodily function? I know, from doing ghost hunting over the years that some of that can cause hallucinations.
Oh, there's many symptoms. They're on my website. If you go to the electronic harassment section of bugsweeps.com, then you'll see a long list of different kinds of symptoms. You got to remember that the human body operates as an electrical entity. You got hundreds of miles of cables really in your body in terms of your neurons and the connection between your brain and every square inch of your body. So anytime you interfere with that electrical flow, you can manifest all kinds of problems, including any number of diseases. It's not a disease in the sense that you have a pathogen, because there's no pathogen involved with electrical interruption of your own electrical system.
Is that similar to, well, we don't know what's going on there, but is that similar to what's going on in Cuba, what people have been complaining about in Cuba?
Well, yeah, that's the Havana syndrome, but that's using electronic harassment bioweapons against an enemy. So those are actually active weapon systems that are being used. And the way they do that is they go to the garbage in front of your house and pick out your garbage and get your DNA. Once they've got your DNA, they can biocode the attack signals, and you'll get the effects, and other people around you will not.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's called biocoded directed energy.
Now, when you talk about electronic harassment, what is that exactly?
That's when people use an electronic device to either directly attack you or interfere with your body's electrical system, or do any number of things to cause electromagnetics to get to the polluted level that is now causing you harm.
Interesting. See, it's just this is just, like I said before, this is just so fascinating to me that people can do this. How do they have to enter, like in order to set these bugs up, like in the movies they enter your home or whatever? Do they have to do it that way, or do they have listening devices that'll go through walls and stuff?
Well, they do have some, but they don't work as well. So generally, you have to enter the premises and install something.
I see. So in other words, they're not only electronic; they're watching you too to see, when you come and go, to be able to get in your house.
Well, not necessarily. As an example, let's say that I want to bug a conference room, so I get access to the buildings, pretending I'm one of the janitor staff, or I'm a telephone repair guy. And then I just take a pen that's digital recording pen and stick it in with the other pens in the room. So this pen has got microcircuits in it that are collecting audio for maybe 24 hours. And once it hits its limit of 24 hours, it will transmit everything that it's taken down for the 24 hours out on a digital burst, and then it will to a receiver, a guy in a parking lot in a van that would be receiving it, and then they listen to the whole
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Now, it's very hard to find those things because they don't transmit all the time. They just transmit when they're bursting information and downloading to a system.
So do they have to be close by? I mean, like, you always see these videos of guys in a white van sitting outside listening to people.
Depends on the power of the transmitter. So you have to be relative to the location of the receiver. So if it's something as small as a 10, you have to be pretty close.
Okay. And how long does it take for them to rig a house up like that?
Just if you're leaving a pen behind and just need access, you're in and out.
Let's see. I've got okay. Can you give us examples why people should worry about this?
Well, the problem is that the government wants to take over and remove all your rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution, especially your Fourth Amendment right to privacy. So, what's really interesting is that, the Black Ops, which is the secret agencies in America, they went to this kid that started Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? The guy I'm talking about.
Right.
And they said, listen, we like what you're doing. We're going to give you unlimited funding.
Oh.
So the reason they did that is people volunteered their own information. So the government saved huge amount of money attempting to figure out who's who and what they do and where they live. And they got everybody to volunteer their information on Facebook to a certain extent. And as a consequence of that, you turned over quite a bit of your privacy voluntarily.
Right.
Pretty clever.
Plus, I mean, Facebook is creepy because, I mean, if you're on the internet, looking at stuff, you get back on your Facebook page and that stuff pops up on your page.
Yeah. You got to remember that a lot of most of these mobile devices are listening to you ongoing. And I'm not talking about just the ones where you're talking to the lady. I'll call it lady. But they're listening to you all the time. So as you discuss things that you're interested in, they tend to pop up because they're analyzing your discussions.
And then a lot of people also don't realize that their cell phones are a tracking device as well.
It is. No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your mobile device.
Yeah.
It's listening all the time. So that's why a lot of times you'll be talking about something, and next thing you know, you get advertisements relating to it.
That is just creepy. Yeah, I always find it creepy, after I've been on the web and my stuff starts popping up on Facebook. Yeah.
Well, you decided to get the mobile device, the large computer. I mean, they're small devices, but in terms of their power, they're largely powerful transmission and intelligence device.
All right.
Another thing that helps the government because they can just tap right into your device and listen to what you're doing.
Are there settings on Facebook that you can use to prevent that or no?
No, not really. Anything you give to Facebook is just as a giveaway.
Wow.
Yeah, so, the government knows an awful lot about us just from Facebook.
Well, that's the other thing. And then there's the old adage that whatever you put on the web stays on the web forever, out on the cloud.
Yeah, sure.
That's very interesting.
You gotta stop saying that. You gotta stop.
I know. I love the word interesting with all this. I'm just fascinated by it. I apologize. So, can you tell me about some of the cases that you've worked on where there has been bugging and what type of devices? You don't have to give names.
Well, I can tell you generally.
Okay.
I worked for a lot of billionaires, super rich people, and they just regularly want their places checked, their homes and their business offices. I work for a lot of movie stars that have things going on. They don't want to get into those magazines that deal with the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a lot of gangsters, a lot of criminals, a lot of mafia. Worked in Las Vegas a lot.
What's one of the most you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to mention, but can you describe like a situation where you've walked in and found a lot of bugs in in a particular place?
Yeah, I was. Well, the funny thing was they had me in Las Vegas checking out hotels that were being run by the mafia.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that they did is when I arrived, they comped me a really beautiful room. And it was like a penthouse with a jacuzzi and all that. And I was saying to myself, gee, I ought to have a look at this room that they've given me. And so I went through the room, and after I went through the room, I had about 5 bugging devices that I found in different locations in the room. So next day I went up to meet the big boss, and he went to shake my hand, and I put the devices on his desk, and he said, "Kid, you're good." But the reason they bug those rooms is because if you start winning at the casino, the first thing they do is comp you one of these rooms. They want to find out if you're cheating. Right. So they give you those rooms, and that's why those rooms were all hot-wired.
And I know there's the old friend. My dad just used to sell used cars. And he always told me when you go in to buy a new car, to not say anything when you're in that office because they have the office bugged.
Yeah, what they do is they walk, salesman walks out of the office and says, "Well, go ahead and discuss our offer with your wife and see if that's going to be adequate to close the deal." And then he walks out, right? And then he goes to another room and he's listening. Yeah, there's one funny story though, because I was dealing with the Donald Trump kind of guys in New York. Sure. So they came to me and they said, "Can you hotwire this suitcase so that there's a bug in it, and then we want a receiver that will go in the shirt pocket so that we can listen to the room." So I set this thing up for him, and he went in there to buy an office building. I think it was about $100 million office building. So he made an offer at $100 million. And he said, "Well, you guys, the partners, were the ones that were selling." He said, "You guys talk it over. I'm going to go out down to the bathroom." So he goes in the stall of the bathroom. He takes out his receiver, puts it in his ear. And, the guys in the room are discussing it. And they say, "Well, if he comes up to $105 million, we'll go with it. But I don't think he's going to take more. But, if he goes lower, we'll have to take it, So next time I saw him, he said, "Kid, you saved me about $10 million.
Wow.
So you got a lot of stuff like that going on.
So we don't even realize. I mean, this could be happening at the supermarket or anywhere we go.
Yeah, there's no point of it being a supermarket, but if you're negotiating something big,
right,
be able to hear your opposing people you're opposing in the deal, and you have a big advantage.
Even buying a house or something.
Well, maybe, but possible. You could hear the discussions between the selling real estate and the selling parties. So
right.
That would be helpful.
Right. Wow. Well, I'm going to start rethinking things. I'll tell you that right now. Every time I go someplace. Any hotel rooms, anything like that.
Yeah, well, hotel rooms, the problem there is cameras.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, hidden cameras because, people making videos that people love making and all kinds of other stuff, So when you're in a hotel room, unless you have some pretty good equipment, you can't really tell that there's a hidden camera somewhere.
And people don't realize the small sizes that they can make these cameras, right?
Who makes the cameras?
No, I'm just saying people don't realize how small these cameras can be made.
Oh yeah, well they're hidden. If you go online, look up covert camera companies, and you see they're built into everything. They're built into smoke detectors, and they're built into light bulbs, and they're built into radios, and they're already in other devices, so you're really not aware of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very hard to find unless you have the proper equipment.
Mm-hmm. And I've read on a few cases where even some hotels have gotten in trouble for just putting cameras, so they can watch the guests.
Yep. Yeah, sure.
You're not safe anywhere, guys. Not anywhere at all.
No, that's where you have to watch what you're talking about. Because,
yeah.
You don't want to give out personal information, and you also don't want to talk politically because that can be a problem as well.
Just like I know there's I don't know if it's like that in the United States. It probably is, but I know like in Switzerland, when people are on vacation, they've got street cameras watching people.
Mm-hmm.
So and they can hear them, and so you really can't escape it.
Yeah, in public they've got all kinds of networks, especially in New York, places like New York, where they there's cameras almost in every pole, and they make digital recordings of it, and they go back to be able to see who passed those intersections.
The other thing I used to find interesting, there's the word, was we used to have police scanners. And what used to get me with those is that, and what people didn't realize, and I'm glad they went to like digital scanners now, because years ago they would pick up cell phones and wireless phones. Yeah.
I used to listen to cell phones.
Yeah. And you're embarrassed to say, but you'd be like, oh yeah, that's so and so down the street on the phone, So
everything is encrypted now, so that you have to break the encryption.
Yeah.
But there are people that can do that.
Wow. I'm just kind of spooked about being on the phone and everything now. Thank you so much, Roger.
Okay.
So
privacy has really gotten small compared to what it used to be with the advent of digital communications.
So when a client comes to you, what's the process?
Well, they just come say they want to secure a certain location, and we make an assessment of how much time it's going to take, and just give them a quote based on the time.
Okay. And like you, okay, go ahead.
And also how many devices they want to analyze, because we also have the ability to look at the inside of cell phones to see if there's spyware in the phones themselves.
I would think that, and I would think just like the big thing about having covers for USB cameras on computers as well.
Well, the thing about it is, the only way you're really going to fix that problem is put a piece of tape over your camera and just take it off when you need it.
Now I know this is silly, but I know there were stories about people being able to see you through your microwave.
I don't know that. I've not heard that one.
Okay.
The microwave would have to have some kind of optical system in it, and I don't know exactly what you're thinking about.
Yeah, I know that's silly, but there used to be. Well, Facebook's full of this misinformation stuff. So you see this stuff come flashing by. You know what I mean? So that was about a year ago, that there were stories about microwave ovens and and all that. So, yeah. What do you think is the easiest thing for people to bug? Would it be the phone, or would it be like putting cameras in, or what?
You can do any number of things: cameras, phones. I mean, it just depends on what you want to look at. So, and then it depends how much access you have to those machines. If you're going to put spyware in somebody's phone, you got to get access to the phone. You got to get that software downloaded, and then once the software is downloaded, it will send everything the person is talking about and texting to a listening post. So this is an illegal tap. If you were to illegally tap somebody, because the legal taps, you don't even have to do that. You just sit down at a console and tap in on a keyboard that they want to send all your conversations and information to Bluffdale, Utah.
So, there's different levels of the devices. I mean, you could go to the store or one of those spy shops that they have. Let's just say that, and buy some kind of device. But then again, that would be a cheaper device. And then like anything else, I would think the more expensive the device, the better the surveillance.
Yeah, that's right. Be correct.
Cool. This is it. I mean, wow.
Don't say it's interesting.
I didn't say it. I stopped myself.
Good.
I know. That word stuck in my head. I'm so sorry. The more expensive stuff, what can you do with it? What can you do with it as opposed to cheaper stuff?
Well, it depends on what you want to know. You want to know phone conversations or room conversations. So if you want phone conversations, you got to get spyware put in the phone, and if you want to have room conversations, you got to place that pen. So It depends on what your target is.
I have a question in the chat room. Are cars pretty easy to bug?
Yeah, they're pretty easy to bug.
I would think so with the OnStar system, because that's you can communicate back and forth with somebody. It's kind of like a baby cam.
You don't even bother with that. You just get a magnetic transmitter and stick it onto the bumper, from the GPS will track everything that they do.
This is James Bond stuff.
Yeah.
What about baby cams? Because I know there have been a lot of reports of people tapping into those too to look into people's houses.
Yeah, they could do that, but I don't know if that's going to be interesting watching a baby.
I'm trying to read the chat room here.
Yeah, there's just a lot of software that has holes in it that isn't designed to listen to people, but you're able to hack into it, and then you can.
Have you had, and I know this is probably a silly question to you, but have you had a case where a spouse has been cheating on another spouse and the wife ends up ordering, bugs put in so she can trace it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So when you do this, how long does it take you usually to go in and sweep a home or a business?
Say it again. What?
How long does it take you, from the second you get through the door to sweep the home or business?
Depends on the amount of area they want covered. If it's a mansion, it takes a long time.
And what do you look for? Are you looking for like spikes in EMF levels or what?
I'm looking for radio transmissions, and I'm looking for covert devices that are hidden.
Okay. You've been doing this, so I think it's wow. Okay, this is mind blowing. Tell me what you get out of it. What do you enjoy most about doing what you do?
It's tedious work. I don't really enjoy it particularly. It's just it's almost like being a factory worker. You have to do a process. So it's not joyful. It's work.
Do you get satisfaction out of helping the clients at least? Especially if it's somebody that may be wrongfully accused.
Well, when we find something, it usually is rewarding in that way that we're able to find that they were being attacked, and then we're able to figure out what kind of device was being used. So that's always good.
Now, getting back to the Havana syndrome. Now, those people are experiencing headaches and everything, correct?
Yeah, well, those are electromagnetic attacks. So they're getting their brain attacked, and that's what most of the damage has been brain damage.
Now, why is the government telling us? This is just speculation. Why are they telling us they don't know what's doing it?
Because they're using it themselves.
Okay. It's kind of like it's pretty much what I was figuring. Where that was concerned. And wasn't there a story a few days back where I think it was in France they're having a similar problem?
Could be. I don't keep track of it because I know what's being done and I know how to look at it. If I go someplace and analyze whether something's going on, I kind of know what to look for.
Now, here's a question: when somebody is hallucinating from, say, high EMF, what types of hallucinations do they end up with?
They can get visual, both mental and visual, so they can see images and things on the walls, and they also can get ridiculous. Their behavior can become erratic and ridiculous. So, anytime you start interfering with the brain, you can get all kinds of things happening. You got to remember that the brain controls everything, so you can get delusional behavior just from brain interference.
That's true. As I was going to discuss this a little bit with you because, like I said, being involved in ghost hunting, we find that a lot. Where even people don't realize what types of items give off what, high EMF.
Okay, was that a question?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, one of the items that we found that gives off high EMF would be, for instance, an a digital alarm clock. Will give off.
Everything electrical gives off some electromagnetic field. So what you have to do is use the equipment that looks at a tremendous amount of frequencies and find if there's anything that looks abnormal.
Okay.
And then once you find that, then you have to trace it back to the source.
And then when you were talking about like the neighbor having real high EMF coming off the routers, that's like an EMF cage. When people are just inundated with that stuff.
Yeah, it's called electrosmog, and it's causes a lot of suffering because people are getting sick from it.
Mm. And lights.
I don't even use a router. I take all my computer feeds by category 5 cable. I don't use router.
Yeah,
I don't use any kind of radio transmission.
That could cause a lot of problems for people. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, because like I said, we've run into a lot of cases like that, where people have said, oh yeah, lights. Lights can also do that to people, correct? Depending on the lighting they have.
On the light, is that what you said?
Or the wiring in the lights, yeah.
Oh, well, light can be brain interfering, especially if it's strobing. Anytime a light is flashing, it can end up affecting your mental state. So, and of course, the light isn't visible, and it can end up being deceiving. It can be, light that you just can't see, but it's still your body is affected by it.
One thing I found out in the field is that what people don't realize is these new LED lights put out a lot of EMF.
Say it again?
These new LED lights, that they keep marketing out, and, for everybody to buy, they put off a lot of EMF.
I never really measured EMF around a light, but if the light's pulsing, it would be putting out some kind of pulse strain. Just as the field goes up and down, it would be putting out a certain amount of EMF.
So if you find a situation where there's a lot of EMF coming out of somewhere in the house, are you able to go out and tell people, hey, this is going on and you're going to have to make changes?
No, we just track it back to the source and find out what's causing it. Okay. So, have you done anything with the military at all? No. Okay. You're just solo. Yeah, we're private investigators. We don't work for anybody other than just the client.
Makes sense to me. So, if you're a private investigator, then you've gone in and done, you've done bugging in people's houses or offices too, have you?
There's been some bugging in the past that we got involved with, but I can't talk about that.
Oh, sure. No, I understand that. Yeah, your job is just terrific. It's just fascinating. See, I didn't use the word. I almost did. Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Like you told me about this one wealthy client. Can you give me a couple more examples?
I don't know. What do you want to know about? You mean people that bugged people to get an advantage?
Yeah.
I already told you about Las Vegas. I told you about the Donald Trump type guys. So it really pretty much covers it. It's just people trying to spy on opposing parties to figure out what their best deal.
Okay.
Yeah, so that pretty much covers it. Just gangsters do it, and of course, the big business people try to spy. And there's a lot of spying going on by China. That China steals a lot of product information, and they use different kinds of techniques to get into the computer systems to steal the design. So it's the whole industrial complex of America is under siege from China. Go ahead. They better be smart, or they lose information in their designs, and Chinese build the same thing and sell it cheaper.
Absolutely. It just amazes me that, people don't realize that's like somebody's been in your home, doing this.
People don't realize what?
That because you go out for the day, you come back, make your dinner, do whatever, but you don't realize that somebody's been in your home rigging it for this stuff.
Well, I don't think anybody, for the most part, is interested in somebody in their home unless they're a very wealthy person and there's some deals involved. But, your average person. But then, these people that have Alexa, that's her name, right? Alexa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's listening to you all the time.
I can see that. Yeah, I think Alexa's kind of creepy. I don't have one, but yeah, I think it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I think there's the funny stories that come out about people that have birds and they end up ordering a shopping list.
They have what?
Where somebody will have a bird, like a macaw or a parrot.
Yeah.
And the parrot repeats stuff, obviously. So they have a running shopping list on Alexa, and then they end up getting this bill from the store and get a delivery because the bird has ordered stuff inadvertently.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because it's listening. I know that's silly, but I mean that's one thing with Big Brother listening. But I would think that. Go ahead.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I would think that, and I would think something like I said along the line of OnStar when you're driving too, because they can listen in. Different people can listen in. Not so much, the police or whatever, but I mean, even the OnStar people can listen in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, everybody's network is, now to the point where there's listening devices built in, and you can pretty much be assured that you can be listened to without hardly any effort.
Now, you were saying earlier about China being able to tap into computers. Is that through cracking the security? Like people have McAfee and all these different security things. They can crack through that and be able to get into your computer.
Yeah, that's what they do.
It's not safe anywhere. I'm gonna be paranoid now.
Yeah, it's not safe anywhere, and that's it. That's the whole theme of your show right there. It's not safe anywhere if you have electromagnetic devices in operation, communication, mobile devices, and TV sets that have cameras and can listen.
So essentially, the moral of the story is that the higher tech we get, the worse it gets.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay. So what do you say to people that have this equipment? How can they protect themselves? Just not have the equipment?
Pretty much. Yeah, or just put tape over your cameras, and you just masking tape on the cameras and the microphones on things, or just unplug things that you're not using. Like your smart TV. See, I don't take anything by Wi-Fi. I just use the cable, so I can just go over and unplug the cable to the TV set and be assured that nothing is going in or out of the set.
Is there a way that, I mean, like I said earlier, the cheaper systems for being bugged, like on your phone or anything? Is there a way for someone to tell that this is happening? I mean, what gets people to the point where they call someone like you?
No, usually it's a circumstance where they're worried about being listened to. So it isn't so much that they know there's something there, unless they have information feedback that something's leaked out, which sometimes happens. You found out that somebody has gotten information, and at that point you need to find out how. So that is when it triggers some people having investigations done. But the main thing is that on your phones, there's some extent you can put in anti-spyware to evaluate the phone to make sure that the phone is not bugged. So there are some companies like Malwarebytes that make different kinds of software that will evaluate the integrity of your phone. But the thing is, if you got 10 million apps, it's a good chance it might miss it.
Hey, what was going on with TikTok? Because there was that big deal with TikTok that maybe TikTok's owned by China, correct?
Well, that's my understanding. So that means they have access that everything goes through TikTok.
Okay, so that's why there was a lot of nervous stuff going on where TikTok was concerned then.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, guys, from if I'm understanding what he's saying, is that any app you have on your phone could track you and be listening in.
It could be.
Whoa.
If you got lots of apps, there's no way to know the integrity of it. Every app is going to be fair and doing what it's supposed to do and not doing something covert.
Right. So I guess it's better not to have the apps.
Yeah, well, it helps to be able to have apps that you can trust.
Okay. What do you say to people with cell phones then? I mean, how can they, like you say, there's spyware anti-spyware stuff that they can put on the cell phones?
Yeah, that can happen. So then you have to get a spyware evaluation software and hope that you can that it will find that your phone's clean or not.
And it's similar to the stuff they have for computers, right? Or is that not any good? Like Spybot and all that?
Well, you can put as much firewall as you can.
Okay.
And also get the softwares that go through the machine looking for abnormalities. So that's, but it'd be very difficult to get it to 100%.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wonder, because even with Microsoft, I mean, like even with the computer I have now, I have things that pop up every once in a while that there's something wrong with my password or something. So I always wonder if maybe somebody's tapping in.
Yeah.
Jeez, the more tech we get, the worse it gets.
Yes, absolutely. More complex the technology, the more difficult to find the spy.
So how does today's surveillance technology compare with something, say, back 10 years ago? Because I know technology is always changing.
Yeah, it's much more sophisticated now. More difficult to find it. That's why you need software in the phone to find covert software. You have to tag software with software.
Okay. This is incredible, and it's like I said, you just don't want to use your phone or computer or anything because it's scary.
Yeah. Anything you put, any information you put out on it, can be intercepted. So you just want to make sure you don't want to put anything out on your communications that you don't want known by anybody.
And that would go for your TV apps, like Netflix and all that stuff. If people have that stuff on their TV.
Yeah, sure. Well, the TVs are basically can be used for spying. They got cameras and they've got audio, so they're not safe either. Anything that's computer based like that is liable to have a problem that you're never going to figure out.
Incredible. It just boggles the mind.
Boggles my mind too.
That technology has gone that far to where Big Brother can watch you do everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happened.
And what about home security systems? Are they able to tap into that? I mean, people that put cameras and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of cases where they're tapping into the doorbells and all that, the camera doorbells.
Yeah, the Ring doorbells.
Yeah. So anytime you got a device, you got something that can send your information out. So the only way you're really going to get around this thing is just shut all the devices off, and nobody's going to do that. So we're in the future world now where nothing is private anymore.
Just go old school.
Yeah, it's the way it is.
With everything. Yeah, I've noticed, like you say, a lot more surveillance cameras out. When you're out and about, not only at the stores anymore, but I mean, just about everywhere you go, even restrooms.
Yep. Yeah, you can't be even sure that restrooms are secure.
There's some horror stories about that too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
there's those kind of cases pop up all the time with people making tapes of people in restrooms. So, and then they put them out on the internet. The whole thing is pretty bad.
And that's just something. So what do you say? I mean, like we talked earlier about advice to people to turn stuff off, and how can somebody, if they think that something might be going on, like with their computer, they've got spyware and all this, is there some way to get into, say, the language on the computer to find out if there's someone else accessing?
Yeah, you just have to put in spyware detecting software to go through the machine and see what it can find.
Okay.
Like a company like Malwarebytes. But firewalls are helpful too. I use Malwarebytes firewalls on all my stuff, and it's pretty sharp in the sense that it finds a lot of the bad things in advance of anything happening. So it's good company, Malwarebytes.
Okay. How many people do you have working with you?
Just 2 people.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to have to wrap this up here at the end of the hour.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah.
About 10 minutes more.
Yeah, no problem. I'm watching the clock too right now. I really appreciate you coming on too. I mean, this is very, very informative.
Okay.
I'm learning a lot here about what not to do.
Just disconnect all your electronics and you'll be okay.
Just unplug it all. Do you think? Well, in your opinion, do you think it was a mistake to go totally electronic? Because of all this going on, you think we should stay?
You couldn't stop it because communications has exploded. So there's really nothing that's going to stop it. And especially now that people have personal devices, they're not going to give them up for any reason.
Right. And this is the thing, like, you see all this stuff in the news about what's going on, and people are worried about being this thing with tracking devices and stuff. And like I said, they don't realize that your biggest tracking device is your cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where it's watching you, because they can track. Go ahead.
Especially with the GPS capability.
Yes. Yes. And I remember with GPS, when GPS first came out and they had those little things you had to hold, when you were out hiking.
Yeah.
And look how far it's come in just the last 5, 6, 7 years.
It's built right into everybody's mobile device now.
Absolutely. Well, this has been really informative. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about this stuff?
No, not really. We covered most of it. Just if you got electronic devices, you're apt and able and liable to get somebody that's inside your machines looking at what you're doing, especially if you have something worth stealing.
All right, great. I want to apologize for the mic falling. I have trouble with this one bracket sometimes, and it just let go. I really apologize for that. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Okay.
But I thank you so much, Roger, for coming on, and I appreciate it. And I know my audience did too. I had a lot of action going on in my chat, in the chat room, because everybody was really interested in this. But I really, like I said, I really appreciate it, and I thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
You have a good one, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I gotta apologize for the mic dropping. I have a table set up for this show to where it's not like a flat table. It has like a plastic ridge underneath. So if this one connector thing won't connect properly, and so the mic did go down at the beginning of the show. That was interesting, and it's, I don't like to be speechless, but he did have me speechless a few times. That's why I kept saying interesting. I was trying to wrap my head around everything this gentleman was saying. And just to know the extent, because, of what goes on. As a ghost hunter, we're looking for high EMF levels, when we go out on these things, on our ghost hunts. And, I see that stuff all the time, but it's amazing to think that there's even more out there that they could be watching in so many ways. Okay, with that said, I want to update you guys on some stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to be on at noon. I got a gentleman coming on from Great Britain. His name is Charles Christian, and we're going to be talking about Legends of Great Britain, which includes, and notwithstanding, fairies, ghosts, and also a little bit of King Arthur. So it's going to be kind of a fun day for us. But because he is in Great Britain, we will be doing the show at noon. So look out for that. And our numbers as far as downloads are up. I'm really excited about that. We've really doubled and tripled everything this month. So we're starting to gain a lot of momentum, and I'm really appreciative of everybody that's been downloading. So again, if you like the show, share it with 5 of your friends. If you didn't like the show, share it with 5 of your enemies, because whatever it is you're doing, it's showing. Okay. The other thing is, California Haunts is nonprofit, and all this stuff that we do comes out of pocket, including buying these little brackets for the mics that fell. So I want to be able to get some more little brackets for the mics that fell, so that they can stay stable next time. But anything you can do to help would be great. That would be at paypal.me/California Haunts. I would really appreciate it, because like I said, we are nonprofit and we're just trying to get these things going. We haven't been able to get any sponsors or anything yet for this show, and we're working on that. And again, subscribe our YouTube channel, Google California Haunts YouTube, and you can come right into our YouTube channel. I really would like to get some more subscribers there, start building that up as well. But again, I want to thank you guys. We're going out about 9 minutes early today. Technical difficulties with the mic. But again, thank you guys for coming. And I hope you have a good evening. And I will see you tomorrow at noon. And hopefully I'll get this mic fixed to where it's not going to dump on top of me. So have a good evening, everyone. If it's Monday or Wednesday. Come on. See? All these technical difficulties going on. There we go.